Okay, so hypothetical question.
Yeah,
Would you rather go through cancer again or lose 100 grand in the casino?
I like money too much, man. I'm not into losing money. I'm in the
So
financial.
you'd rather deal with the cancer?
Hey, give me cancer one more again. I'll go. I'll go in and knuckle up with cancer before
But
I take a hit like that.
yeah, at least you can fight the cancer though, can't you? Whereas you
Yeah.
can't really fight the debt.
Hey, debt is one of the hardest things to climb out of. You know.
All right, so imagine you've just gone on this cruise ship now, just moving away from the cancer for a second, and you've got yourself into 100 grand debt, and they're saying you got to either lose your truck or your wife. Which one are you losing?
My truck, man. My wife is in jail. I'm not. That lady ain't going nowhere. She's battle tested, tried and true. She ain't going nowhere. When I
No,
make my millions across this world, whenever that day comes, she is set for life. That's why I fought so hard. I was
yeah,
like, listen, I got somebody right here. Whenever every time I was in the hospital, she would not leave me. She
yeah,
spent the night in hospitals every time I was in there. Like, she's a trooper. So I
yeah.
go hard for her. And yeah, you can take my trucks, you can take everything away. I got her. I know I'll bounce back. No
Yeah.
problem.
You know, that was the thing that really got my attention, because the first person I saw was her in the car
Right.
sitting there talking, and I really admired the way she was supporting you, and that kind of support, like that's like, I mean, if you watch Rocky enough times, you will see
Right.
how Adrian was in the hospital just every day, and
Right.
and Rocky came back and he did what he had to do, and
Right.
all he needed was that encouragement, like win, win,
Yeah. Yep.
and that's kind of almost what I was seeing when I was seeing her talking about you. And then when the camera moved over to you and you took over, that just cemented it for me. I need to talk to this guy, you know?
Yeah, man. And that's the thing, man. When people understand, especially men, when you understand the value of a woman like that, and she's shown you, it's not something that you're making up. Like, she's literally shown you that health, sickness and health, for richer or poor. She's shown you that I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. It's gonna be
Yeah,
me and you riding till literally the casket drop.
yeah,
And there was one point I went into septic shock because my port that I had got infected. And so I was in the ICU. I literally flatlined, died. And I came back, grace of God, I came back and she was right there like a rock. We got through the ICU situation. And so we've literally been through every part of our wedding vows. And she's battle tested, tried and true. That's why I said you could take everything away from me. Me and her together, I know that I'll bounce back and I'll build all over again, especially as a motivation because I'm gonna give her the world. I'm gonna give her everything I got because she's shown me she's in my corner.
you've at this point you've had, you've been diagnosed twice now. How did you find out the third time?
At the end of August, I started to develop this cough. And so I'm just thinking that it's cough, a little phlegm, because I'm not having any real breathing issues or nothing like that.
Mhm.
I'm not having any chest pains, anything like that. I'm just coughing. And so on our anniversary, our wedding anniversary, September 4th, 2019, um, we go to check in at the bone marrow clinic. We're going to check in, we're going to leave, and we're going to enjoy our day together and have a good time. I go in, they do my vitals, and my oxygen level wouldn't come up. It just would not reach the normal range. And so my wife had left to go to work. And so she was on her way back to work. And they called her and they said, "Hey, Miss Israel, we're going to admit him into the hospital because his oxygen levels aren't coming up." And so she literally grabbed some clothes, turned around, came back to the hospital. And it took another 7 days I stayed in the hospital, but it took 5 days of testing, 5 days of bronchoscopies, biopsies, CAT scans, MRIs, 5 straight days of that. On the sixth day, just like they did when I first got diagnosed, five doctors come rolling into the room, standing at the foot of my bed. Everybody's head is down, kind of looking like somebody kicked their dog. And so I'm looking up at them And I literally just say, tell me, what is it? And they were like, we don't know how to explain it because there's no way we could have foreseen this. We don't know how this happened, but all your tests and your scans are showing that you have stage 4 small cell endocarcinoma. You have lung cancer in both of your lungs, stage 4. Now, you had this bone marrow transplant and you don't have an immune system, so we can't operate on it and we can't remove it. Literally, Mr. Israel, we can put you on a chemo regimen. We can give you some pain meds to keep you comfortable as the time passed, but that's it.
So they pretty much gave you a deadline as to how long you were going to live.
Yep. They pretty much said, this is it. We just going to keep you comfortable. And so while they're telling me this, I'm literally, my wife has ran out. She's crying. She's ran out the room down the hall. I'm sitting there in my bed just looking at him like, you got to be shitting me. Nah.
See, many people at that point probably would have given up. You know, so what was it with you that made you go, nah, I'm not taking this. This ain't what was written for me?
Because it didn't make sense. Now I could see if I had I had something going on in here prior to, if I, was an active smoker, or like if there was something, if I was around chemicals, or even if in the charts prior to this, they said, okay, you have something going on in your lungs but you can't even get into a bone marrow transplant unless you're free and clear of cancer, any type of ailment like that. So the fact that there was nothing in my body that this came in, there was nothing to give any type of signal that this was even there. So when you're telling me I have stage 4 lung cancer and there's no way to operate on it, there's no way to, and it's for sure there, I'm sitting there like, well, that doesn't make sense. So nah, not me.
So do you think youth had something to do with it? And also, if I heard correctly, you said you're a churchgoer as well. So
Yeah.
You obviously believe in God. So
Absolutely.
Youth and God.
I'm absolutely a man of faith. And this whole experience, the last 3 years from 2017 to now, has really tested that and tried me on that. And that's even more reason why I was like, nah. Like I didn't come the past 2 times through this for you to tell me I'm gonna die now over something that you couldn't even see 2 weeks ago. You're telling me now that this thing just popped up and it's gonna take my life? Not happening.
From what I understand, when we spoke, you said that you are completely clear of cancer now. You've also gone clear of diabetes.
Absolutely.
So where are you at now with your health?
So in that moment, they referred me to a thoracic cancer doctor, and he wanted to start me immediately on a chemotherapy regimen, aggressive one. And so me and my wife looked at each other in his office, and we looked back at him and was like, yeah, you're not doing that. We're not going to do that. And we told him, he said, listen, you're going to retest us and then retest us again and then retest us again. And so we went through those tests and they still were baffled. They were like, listen, we don't know how, but we don't see that it's cancer. It looks like it's just pneumonia. So it was okay, cool. What do we have to do? So we did the pneumonia regimen. It took about 3.5 months for that to clear up. And so they were like, okay, now we'll just check up on you. We'll make sure that, every so often we check up, make sure that your blood is good, your everything's going well. So we did that over months. Everything was still looking good. Last week, we had an appointment with a thoracic doctor. We got our CAT scan that morning, and then we had his appointment that afternoon. So me and my wife were sitting in his office, and in my mind, I'm just kind of prepping myself for whatever he might say. So again, I'm joking with her, yeah, baby, And then he walks in and he's kind of giggling and smiling. Hey guys, what's going on? Good to see you guys. So we're like, okay, he's chipper today. What's going on? So he comes in, he's like, hey, I want to show you your scans and I want to show you what I saw. He pulls up the scans and he's like, if we didn't know what you've been through, we'd show you that this is a perfect set of normal lungs. You no longer need my services. I'm going to discharge you from my care because your lungs are perfectly fine. And he showed us a side-by-side from when I was first diagnosed to the CAT scan from that Friday. He was like, I don't get to say this often, but, congratulations, and you don't need me anymore.
Have they guaranteed this isn't going to come back and bother you again?
Right. So, doctors never like to say, we guarantee or you're cured. But they did assure me, like, listen, there are no cancerous cells in your body. You're healthy. You're good to go. But the only thing is just my back. So in the process of me having that cancer, it ate away at my vertebrae, and it actually caused my vertebrae to completely collapse in.
Wow.
So my back has it started to mend and heal itself, but there's still chronic pain and stuff like that. So that's something that we will address, later on. But as far as cellular, molecular, and cancerous or anything, free and clear.
Brilliant. So if you on the level of cancer, diabetes, if you had something that you could say to people out there so they can learn from this and maybe use your experience so they can survive these things as well in the future, what would you say, just really quickly to wrap it up?
Oh yeah. So advocate for yourself. Do the work. So cancer, diabetes, all that stuff is curable when you make the necessary changes to cleanse your body, cleanse your cells, get yourself to a healthy point, and your body will respond. Because all it is that we've gotten to a point where our body is adapting to things that aren't natural to it. So we eating processed foods, we're eating stuff that we shouldn't be eating, and your body says, okay, well, this is so regular now, I need to do something different to accommodate for the different. So all I'll say is, listen, advocate for yourself. If a doctor tells you have something, say, okay, but then go research, go do some work on your own. Don't necessarily take that one doctor, say, okay, listen, that's cool. Let me go ask this doctor. Let me go ask another doctor. And then we'll all compile our information and say, okay, this is our course of action. Because doctors they go to school and they pick up a book and they get information out of a book. And then they say, okay, this lines up with what I read in the book. So you got this. They only tell you what they read out of a book. Advocate for yourself. Make sure that what they telling you is what it is. Test me and then test me again and then test me again. And if it is, okay, I can concede to that because we've tested the tests.
And do your research. But, when you're doing your research, like there's so much stuff that's online that, that's just online. No one's really policed it properly. So you don't even know if the information that's there is correct or not. But a lot of people follow guidelines that are incorrect. Right. So how do you know what is correct, what's not? Where do you go for that information?
You go to your source. That's where your faith comes in. That's where just your internal, even if you're not necessarily a person of faith, there's an internal source that clicks and guides you that says, listen, this is right. Like this is what it is. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that, then you're kind of walking aimlessly in life, and that's fine. But for me, I need a connection. I need a source, whether that's my spiritual father, my source, or my internal guide, where I connect them one and the same. So if I don't hear from my father, I'm hearing from my internal source that's telling me this kind of makes sense. This kind of aligns. And you got to know that. You got to trust you enough to know that you're not going to lead yourself astray. And you got to trust yourself to know that, listen, I ain't going to do myself no harm. So if this is self-destructive, my source is gonna be like, nah, that ain't it. Keep going, keep digging.
So basically, if cats and dogs and animals generally can trust their instincts, humans should be able to trust their
That is
instincts without
absolutely
having to go to another source for reassurance.
that is absolutely what I'm saying.
All right,
Animals are animals. We are animals, just like a cat, a dog. A dog will sit there, and if it just feels something wrong, like a dog won't give you its back. Like a dog only turns its back to you when it's completely comfortable and knows that you ain't going to do it no harm. Anytime that there's any type of question, they will stare face to face or they'll back down and they'll step away because they said, listen, something ain't right. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to let you stand behind me or get behind me and take advantage of me. So it's that dog, it's that fight that you got to say, listen, I trust me. I trust my instinct. I trust my source.
So you've survived cancer 3 times. You've survived diabetes. I'm going to come back to that in a second. But just quickly, what kind of music do you make? How long have you been doing it? And where can people find out about you with your music? And are you going to now start talking about your experience with cancer and everything on your social media so people can learn from? Or was that just an experience? You've dealt with it. It's gone.
No. So as far as the music's concerned, I have a SoundCloud page of some old music I did back in the day.
Are you not making music nowadays, or are you still making music, but you just...
So now the music that I make is kind of my therapy. It's kind of when I need to check out from my work, because I run a business. So when I need to check out from that and just kind of get myself level, I'll come and fiddle around and, make some stuff, or, throw on the headphones, play the drums for a while and practice for a little bit. So music is kind of now my personal therapy, not necessarily for me to broadcast and put out. So the stuff that I have on my SoundCloud is like from 2012, 13, stuff like that. I documented my initial journey in 2017. I documented from January 2018 on through the whole bone marrow transplant up through 2019. So that you can find on my Instagram page, which is KEE617919. And then you can also find it on my Facebook page. If you go back through my videos on my Facebook page, that stuff is on there. And my Facebook page is Keith Israel, just like my name, KEITHISRAEL.
I've only known you a short while, but what I do know from the conversations that we have had so far is that, I'm inspired by your positivity through a time where so many people would have given up, just fallen by the wayside, got lazy, stayed on the couch, not done anything about their health and their well-being. So, I have to take my hat off to you for that, because that's what inspired me to contact you, because I was just like, a doer, not a talker. Someone who doesn't moan about life and gets on with it and deals with it. So, right, but you know what? I'm not going to let you get off that lightly, though. You've survived cancer 3 times. You've survived diabetes. Now I want to see if you're going to survive the drummer's test.
Listen, man.
No excuses. No listening. The only listening is for the drums.
I'll give you something, man. Listen, don't judge me.
For the drums.
Don't judge me too, man. Like, I haven't played. I play for me. I don't play for nobody.
No excuses, bro. No one's gonna judge you. I just want to know that you can play drums. Do funky drummer. James Brown's funky drummer. Do that.
Can you hear any? What happens? I got neighbors, and we in the HOA, so I don't.
But this is without being rude, and I'm not sure I'm allowed to say it, but fuck the neighbors. I can't even hear it.
That's y'all.
Oh man, he got away with that one. That's not fair. I wanted to hear him drum. I can hear the snare just. Well, it looks like he can play.
At least I made it look good, right? I made it look good.
Yeah. What can I say apart from, look, thanks for being so open with your situation. And I hope people out there that watch this will learn from it. If you know anyone who's going through it and they need a little bit of encouragement, then this is a man that you can learn from, someone that didn't just lie back and let it take control of him. He took control of the situation. So yeah, thanks a
I
lot, Keith.
appreciate you for reaching out, and thank you again for having me. And hopefully this does reach people and touch their heart. Let them know that they can do it, man.
If you have anyone who's suffering from cancer, diabetes, then please let them know about this, because like I said, you can learn from this. Just spread the word, tell everybody. If you like what we're doing on the channel and you got other people that you know have interesting stories, yeah, let them know, reach out. All right. If you like what you're hearing, like what you're seeing, subscribe to the channel and spread the word for us. Thank you very much.